Hello, good morning. How are you today?
Good
I'm
morning,
fine,
teacher.
thank you, teacher. How are you
Fine, thank
today?
you.
Very good. Are you ready to start the class?
Yes,
Yes,
teacher.
teacher.
Okay, very good. Here we go. We are going to continue with our class presentation. Wait me. Hello, Fernandito. Good morning. Welcome. We're going to continue with the class presentation in this moment. And remember to follow the virtual classroom rules and also the English rules. You have to speak just in English. If you want to say something, say it in English, not in Spanish. Remember that is very important and it is necessary. Hello, Fernandito. It is necessary that you practice English all the time. All the time. This is our agenda. We have number 1, welcome. In number 2, we have a social emotional content. I'm going to read a short reading comprehension. Then you are going to tell me your point of view about the history. Number 3, we have the objective for this class, the reflection, class development, and at last, questions and answers. Let's continue with our social emotional content. As you can see in the presentation, we have a short history, a short reading. I'm gonna read this. What you have to do is pay attention, try to understand the most as you can, and at the end, you are gonna tell me your point of view about this. Jump around, jump around. I could hear kids cheering all around me. It was Nikki's birthday party, and we were having fun in the bounce house. We were jumping up as high as we could and falling down to let the soft ground catch us. I loved jumping in a bounce houses. I wish I could have one of these in my backyard, I thought. I decided to look up the price of a bounce house when I got home. It was too expensive for me. Maybe if all of my friends and I put our money together, we could buy it. I found them playing outside and asked. Jake said, "That would be awesome." "Yeah, I'm in," replied Kate. "I'll see how much money I have at home," said Jenny. The next day, we all gathered to see how much money we had. After counting it, we found out we had enough. I talked to my parents about my idea. That would be a lot of fun for you and your friends. We don't have a space in our backyard, but there are some things that I don't think you are considered. We could have to use our electricity to blow it up every time someone wanted to use it. That would be cost more money, and it will cost money to fix it. It ever got a hole in it or anything? Are you going to pay for the electricity and repair yourself? Dad asked. You're right. I didn't think about that, I replied. I could ask everyone to pay a little bit every time they use it, I guess. Well, this is the end of this history. What do you understand about it? What can you tell me about this history? I have a question for you. Do you like to play in a bounce house like this? Do you like to play in this kind of games?
No.
No.
No, teacher.
Why? Why not?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Why you don't like to play in this kind of games? It's boring? Is it boring for you? Have you ever played in one of these games? Yes or no? Have you ever played on one of these games?
No.
No, never. Mateo?
Yes.
You are okay. Very good. This is the short history. This is called bounce house. Bounce house. Well, let's continue with our class. The content we are going to study today is must, mustn't, and have to. Pay attention to this explanation because if you don't pay attention to this, you are going to become confusing. Then you are going to say, I don't understand how to use must, mustn't, and have to. The reflection. Believe in yourself. Don't let anyone tell you that you can't. Why? Because you can't. You can do what you want. You can do everything. Don't let that anyone tells you that you can't. All is possible for you. The objective, to develop the ability to understand and express safety measures. This is the reflection and the objective. Well, I'm having here an extra explanation about the content. Why? Because it is necessary that you understand the use of must, have to, mustn't, and don't have to. But the content is must, mustn't, and have to. We are going to study must, mustn't, and have to. We are going to study don't have to in the next class. How you are going to use must? Must is used for obligation. This is an obligation that comes from the speaker. The speaker thinks it's necessary. Obligation, must. You must. You must study for the exam. This is an obligation, right, that you have if you want to get excellent scores. You must study for the exam. You must obey your parents. That is another example you can mention. Obligation, don't forget this. Must is used for obligation. These are some examples here. The manager says, you must be here at 7. The smoker, I must stop smoking. This is an obligation, right? The obligation comes from the smoker. The smoker thinks it's necessary to stop smoking. What about mustn't? This is a negative for must. This is positive, and this is negative. Mustn't, prohibition. This is a prohibition. You can't do something. It's necessary that you don't do it. Examples, you mustn't wait here. You can't wait here, it's not allowed. No está permitido. He mustn't call her at work. What about have to? This is an external obligation, an external obligation. Another person thinks it's necessary. The worker, I have to be there at 7. The smoker, I have to stop smoking. Any question about this? Questions? Did you understand the use of must, mustn't, and have to? Tell me.
Teacher, ¿qué es más fuerte, must or have to?
Must. Must.
Thank you, teacher.
You're welcome. Yeah, must because it's an obligation. And have to is an external obligation. You can do the things or you can't do it. This is must is heavier than have to. Any other question? Is it clear?
No.
No questions, Mateo?
No question.
Okay, let's continue with our class development. In this moment, we are going to make an exercise or a practice activity on Richmond platform. This is a practice activity on Richmond platform. Wait me some seconds. I'm going to share with you the activity we are going to develop right now. This one. Sorry, it's not this. Wait me. This one. This is the activity we are going to develop before to start with the content. Listen. Listen to the information and draw the numbers to the sentences. I'm going to play the audios. You are going to listen carefully. Try to guess what is the number they mention in the audio. Are you ready?
Yes, teacher.
Yes, teacher.
Yes, teacher.
Very good. Go ahead. Let's listen to the first audio.
Yes,
About
antes
7 billion people live on Earth.
I'm going to play it again.
About 7 billion people live on Earth.
What is the correct option? 1, 2, or 3?
3.
2, 3.
3.
You said that is 3. Let me see. About 7 billion people live on Earth. Let me see. I'm going to do this.
Teacher, million or billion?
Billion. Yay, that's correct. That's a billion. The next.
Our
Teacher.
sun is 25 million light years from the center of the Milky Way galaxy.
1.
Yes.
1.
1.
The first? Are you sure that is the first?
First?
The
Yes,
first.
teacher.
Let me see. Mateo, do you want to say something? Yes, very good. Mateo, do you want to say something?
puede mandar el link de la plataforma. Es que como estoy en celular, no sé cómo meterme.
But you have to access to Santillana, Mateo. Santillana, and you are going to look for Richmond learning. If not, you can practice this activity in the time you have. Doesn't matter.
Me acaba de cargar y el Richmond Classroom
Yeah.
y no sé en qué libro me tengo que meter.
This is practice activities. I'm going to present you. Let me see. This one, practice activities. This book.
Gracias.
Okay. Then you are going to click on activity 1 and we are going to do it again. In order you can do it. One more time.
About 7 billion people live on Earth.
You said that is this. Okay, this is already done. Then number 2.
Our sun is 25 million light years from the center of the Milky Way galaxy.
What is the correct number? 1, 2, or 3?
3.
3.
3.
Yay, very good. Now the next. Pay attention to this. And try to read the sentence. Who wants to read me the sentence we have in here? A volunteer who wants to read this sentence?
The temperature on the surface of Mercury can reach 403 degrees Celsius.
Very good. Thank you. Now listen to the audio.
The temperature on the surface of Mercury can reach 430 degrees Celsius. That's
What's
as
it?
hot as a pizza oven. At night, it drops to minus 170 degrees Celsius.
What is the number?
1.
1.
First. Okay, let me see. Very good. Excellent. Next one. Who wants to read me this?
Me,
Read the
teacher.
sentence. Okay, Ariana?
Pluto is about 5,916,376,000 kilometers from the sun.
Very good. Now listen to the audio.
The dwarf planet Pluto is an average of 5,906,376,000 kilometers from the sun. It
Me
takes
check.
light from the sun more than 5 hours to reach Pluto. It only takes 8 minutes for sunlight to reach Earth.
What is the number according to the sentence in the audio?
Number 1.
Number 1. Are you sure that is number 1?
Yes, teacher.
Yes,
Okay.
teacher.
Yes, excellent, very good. Michelle, read the next sentence, please. Michelle.
No, teacher, es que acabo de entrar.
Ah, okay, Michelle. Next one, who wants to read this? The tallest volcano. Participate. Remember that your participation is very important. In this way, you practice pronunciation, you practice fluency.
A mí, ¿cuál página? ¿O estamos en Richmond?
This is Richmond. Yeah, this is a practice. This is a practice activity we are doing right now. Okay, we are going to read this. The tallest volcano in the solar system is 21,229 meters tall. Now listen the audio.
The tallest volcano in the solar system is Olympus Mons on Mars. It is 21,229 meters tall. That's 3 times higher than Mount Everest.
What is the correct number?
2.
Number 2.
Number 2. Let me see. Clap for you. Excellent. Very, very good.
Ya lo vi.
And the next. Who wants to read me the next sentence?
Teacher,
Mateo?
¿dónde me meto? En la plataforma de Richmond, ¿en qué libro me meto?
Practice activities. Unit 1. Sorry, Unit 2. Practice activities, Unit 2.
No me aparece.
Okay, we are gonna do this later on, Mateo. Well, Mateo, can you read this sentence, please?
Okay. There are 168 moons in our solar system.
Okay.
There are 168 moons in our solar system.
What is the number?
3.
Number 3. Number 2.
Number 3.
This one, okay.
3.
Yes, excellent, very good. Let's continue with this. Maria Alejandra, can you read this sentence, please?
1 million Earth could fit inside the sun.
Now listen the audio.
1 million Earths could fit inside the sun.
What is the number? What is the correct number in here?
3.
3.
Okay, I'm gonna do this. Yes, excellent. Then let's continue. Who wants to read me this sentence? Practice activities. Practice activities. The second?
The wind on the surface of Saturn can reach 1,770 kilometers per hour.
Very good.
The winds on the surface of Saturn can reach 1,770 kilometers per hour. On Earth, the fastest wind ever recorded was 372 kilometers per hour.
What is the number?
Number 2.
2.
Number 2. Let me see. Yes. We almost finished this activity. Next one. Scientists believe that the Milky Way galaxy has 200 billion stars like our sun. What is the, okay, let's listen to the audio, then you are gonna tell me what is the number.
Scientists believe that there are 200 billion stars in the Milky Way galaxy, such as our sun.
Teacher,
La segunda.
Yes, Ariana?
porque yo sé cuál es la primera, pero ¿por qué ahí no se pasaron de los billones a de los millones a los billones?
Where?
Ahí en la oración pues dice 2.
Dice has 200 billions.
200
Okay.
billion stars.
Number 2.
Number 2.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And the last, this is the last, I think. The shortest distance from Earth to Mars is 56,166,105 kilometers. Let's listen the audio.
The shortest distance from the Earth to Mars is 56,166,105 kilometers. However, this is always changing because Earth and Mars move around the Sun at different speeds.
What is the number?
The first.
1.
1.
Number 1. Okay. Perfect. Clap for you. Your score 10 of 10, 100%. Then here we have the answers for this information. Very good. Excellent job. Now let's continue with our student's book, page number 24. Student's book, page number 24. Page number 24. We are going to continue talking about must, mustn't, and have to. This is the main content for today's class. Activity number 1 says, read and mark with a check or an X. The check is going to represent do this, do. The X, don't do this. Radio show thunder and lightning safety. If you are outside, let's imagine that you are here in this building. Then I'm going to say, so guys, it's time to go outside the building. If you are outside the building, if you are inside the building, inside, adentro, outside, afuera. Try to find shelter, play golf to go or go boating, lie flat on the ground. These are some possible things you can do if you are outside. If you are inside, use the phone, unplug electrical appliances, use faucets and sinks. Let's listen to the audio and try to guess what is the correct option for each sentence. Pay attention to the audio. I'm going to play it in this moment.
Track 15. Listen and classify the cities. Weather around the world.
Sorry, it's not this track. Sorry. That's 13.
Track 13. Listen and check your answers.
Today, we're talking to Dr. Andy Cox. He's a meteorologist, and he knows everything about thunder and lightning. Hello, Dr. Cox.
Hello. Please call me Andy.
Okay. Now, Andy, I'm not a scientific person, but I do know that lightning never strikes the same place twice, and it always hits the tallest building.
I'm afraid both of those statements are false.
Really?
Absolutely.
Well, this is the season for thunderstorms. So what advice do you have for our listeners?
Okay. Well, if you're outside, you must try to find shelter. It's much safer under a shelter than out in the open. And remember, lightning can strike up to 13 kilometers from the center of the storm. You mustn't play golf or go boating on a lake. These are both dangerous activities because you are very exposed.
What do you do if you can't find a shelter?
You have to make yourself as small as possible. Touch as little of the ground as possible. You mustn't lie flat on the ground.
Okay, that's outside the home. What do you do if you're inside?
You mustn't use the phone. Telephone lines can conduct electricity, so you have to unplug all electrical appliances, such as TVs. And finally, you mustn't use faucets and sinks or take a shower. Once again, metal pipes can conduct electricity, and that isn't safe.
Thank you for your advice, Andy. Let's hope for some nice sunny weather.
Did you guess the correct
Track
information?
13.
Did you guess the information? Yes, no, do you want to listen again?
¿Dónde estaba eso?
This is on page number 24 in your student's book. Page number 24.
¿En qué ejercicio?
It's the first, exercise 1. Read and mark with a check or an X. Listen one more time.
Listen and check your answers.
Today, we're talking to Dr. Andy Cox. He's a meteorologist, and he knows everything about thunder and lightning. Hello, Dr. Cox.
Hello. Please call me Andy.
Okay. Now, Andy, I'm not a scientific person, but I do know that lightning never strikes the same place twice, and it always hits the tallest building.
I'm afraid both of those statements are false.
Really?
Absolutely.
Well, this is the season for thunderstorms. So what advice do you have for our listeners?
Okay. Well, if you're outside, you must try to find shelter. It's much safer under a shelter than out in the open. And remember, lightning can strike up to 13 kilometers from the center of the storm. You mustn't play golf or go boating on a lake. These are both dangerous activities because you are very exposed.
What do you do if you can't find a shelter?
You have to make yourself as small as possible. Touch as little of the ground as possible. You mustn't lie flat on the ground.
Okay, that's outside the home. What do you do if you're inside?
You mustn't use the phone. Telephone lines can conduct electricity. So you have to unplug all electrical appliances, such as TVs. And finally, you mustn't use faucets and sinks or take a shower. Once again, metal pipes can conduct electricity, and that isn't safe.
Thank you for your advice, Andy. Let's hope for some nice sunny weather.
Well, according to this information and the audio, if you are inside, what are the options you have in here? Must, mustn't, and have to. What about try to find shelter?
Must.
That must. You must try to find shelter. Write a check in here. Write a check. Next, play golf or go boating. What do you think?
Must.
Mustn't.
Mustn't. Yep, mustn't. Write an X. Next one. Lie flat on the ground.
Check.
Must, mustn't. Have
Mustn't.
to. Mustn't. You mustn't lie flat on the ground. If you are outside, what about if you are inside? Inside home, inside a building, etc. Use the cell phone.
Mustn't.
Mustn't. Very good. This is an X. That's mustn't. You mustn't use the cell phone. Next one. Unplug electrical appliances.
Mustn't.
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 Must.
This is a check. Must. A check. And the last. Use faucets and sinks.
Must.
Mustn't. Write an X. Very good. Let me see. We are going to continue with the last exercise for today's class. Yeah.
Can you repeat, please?
Okay, of course. I'm going to repeat again. If you are outside, this is must. You must try to find shelter. Must. Write a check in the first. If you are outside, you mustn't play golf or go boating. This is an X. If you are outside, you mustn't lie flat on the ground. Write an X in here. X. If you are inside, you mustn't use the phone. Mustn't. X. If you are inside, you must unplug electrical appliances. This is a check. And the last, if you are inside, use faucet and sinks. This is an X.
Thank you, teacher.
Welcome. Very good. Let's continue with activity number 2. This is our last activity for today's class. Read the safety pamphlet and circle. What is number 1?
Mustn't.
Number 1?
Mustn't.
Mustn't.
You mustn't. Can you read the whole sentence, please, Ariana? Read the whole sentence.
You mustn't take your cell phone with
But in
you.
this case, Ariana, is must. Must. You must take your cell phone with you for emergencies, right? You must. The correct option is must.
Miss, select
Hello? Number 1, you must take your cell phone with you. What about number 2? What is sentence number 2?
Mustn't.
Read the whole sentence, please.
You mustn't stand still for a long time.
Very good. Mustn't. This is the correct option. You mustn't. Number 3. What's number 3? Mateo?
Have to.
Yes. Read the sentence, please.
You have to wear layers of our closet.
Very good. Excellent. Have to. Number 3. Have to. You have to. Number 4. What's number 4?
Mustn't.
Read the sentence, please.
You mustn't travel if you can avoid it.
Very good. Excellent. Mustn't. Number 4 is mustn't. You mustn't. Number 5 is?
Must.
What's number 4? You said that is must. Read the sentence.
Must.
You must check on the neighbors.
Oh, neighbors. Very good. You must. And the last, number 6 is?
Have to.
Read the sentence, Ariana, please.
You have to take food and water with you.
Very good. Excellent, 5th graders. Excellent job. Claps for you. You have done an excellent job today. Any question about it? Did you finish these activities? Did you understand everything?
Teacher,
Yeah, Ariana?
el ejercicio número 2 lo sacamos del audio, ¿verdad?
Which one?
El número 2 de esa
Which
página.
one? Yes, in the audio.
Okay, teacher.
Well, this is all for today's class. Let me see. Remember, if you have any question to ask me about the activities we developed today, you can do it. If you don't have any question, we are going to finish in this moment. And I'm going to tell you, thank you all for your attention and your excellent participation during our English class. We are gonna continue in the next class. For the next class, you are gonna watch the class on YouTube, right? Tomorrow, the class is gonna be on YouTube. Thank you all. Bye-bye. Have a nice day. Take care.
Bye, teacher.
Bye,
Bye,
teacher.
teacher.
Have a nice day.